Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always returning. Trust you and yours are well and you are loving yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you, my esteemed subscribers. You all have celebrated and appreciated. So I want us to look at the approach of the Chinese, the Russians, and the Americans. Africa is in the middle, and Africa is surrounded by the Chinese, the Russians, and the Americans. Right? When I talk about the Americans, I'm including the British government, the French government. Let's just assume that they are under one umbrella, because of course they are doing everything for their own interests and the interests of those in their region. So Africa is like the bread the three are fighting for, and so they are doing everything possible to see that the continent picks either of them as an ally, or either one of them or maybe two as allies and work with, because they know that whoever is controlling the continent, whoever is on the good side of the continent, is the one that will rule the world, that will control the world. There is no way any continent around the world, or any country around the world, any group of powers around the world will be called the world power if they do not have any connection in one way or the other with the motherland. Because the motherland is a supplier of majority of the minerals that the world used to develop themselves. This is the truth. Because we have them in surplus. And that is why they'll do everything possible to have a connection with leaders, even in the rural parts of the continent of Africa. They do everything possible to have something that links them, that links someone to those particular leaders, to see how they can gradually begin to poison the minds from the rural parts. You get it? So it will be like we begin to feel like we are nothing without the Europeans' interference. We are nothing if we do not call Chinese to come and help. We are nothing if we do not align with the Russians. And this is the kind of mindset we grow with from the rural areas down to the top. So they are all struggling amongst themselves so that they be in a good light with the Africans. And why are they doing this? Because like I said, they know that whoever is on the side of the Africans is the one that will be the one who controls the world. That is it. Let's listen to Dr. Omar. He's someone that is a bit controversial because a lot of persons do not like his ideas, to his approach to some things, but there are some things that he says the truth, and we have to look into it. Because this whole Chinese befriending the continent of Africa, I'm not at peace with it. Americans befriending the continent of Africa, the Russians, we might not see the motive behind all this now, but nobody comes to help you for free. A lot of Africans right now are carried away by Russia. Oh, Russians are good. Oh, they helped Africa during the war. They protected Africans. Oh, they did this. We have a connection with them. No doubt about that. That's the truth. There's no lie in that. But we shouldn't be quick to accept other people. We should develop ourselves to accommodating ourselves first. Because when push comes to shove, we are the ones that got our backs. Both when I'm talking about ourselves, right, I'm talking about Africans at home and the diaspora. Let's learn how to accommodate ourselves first. Open the door for ourselves first before we bring someone else inside. I tell you.
They are engaged in a three-way tug-of-war, Chinese, Russians, and Americans, for who are going to dominate the soil of Africa. Remember, whoever controls Africa rules the world, because Africa has the largest deposits of non-renewable resources in the world. Gas, oil, gold, silver, manganese, coltan. Do you realize of the dozen or so minerals necessary to create an atomic bomb, half of them are in Africa? There is no nuclear age without Africa. There is no solar age without Africa. There is no technological age without Africa. China knows that. And see, the reason China wants to possess herself of Africa is number one, China is overpopulated. I've been there twice to speak to the Africans. China is overpopulated, bro. You think rush hour in New York is something? You think rush hour in DC? Go to China and sit in that rush hour. It's overpopulated. 2 billion people. They need somewhere to drop off the excess Chinese. Africa has undeveloped land all over the continent. It's the perfect place for China to send all of the people she needs to get rid of. Number two, China is the number one producer of cheap goods, cheap food, cheap clothes, cheap utensils, cheap devices, cheap soap, anything cheap, China makes it. They are the Walmart of the planet. China has a surplus of cheap goods. Where can I go and sell all these cheap goods that cost less than $1 so I can recoup all my money from the surplus I have? Africa. Most of the world lives off of less than $1 a day. The world. So America will never be able to sabotage China because America is king of capitalism, expensive goods. China is the king of communism, cheap goods. And so Africa is the perfect place for the Chinese to dump all their unsold cheap goods off. Also, where can you go to create a manufacturing sector where you can pay people pennies in order to work for you? Africa. Everything China needs, Africa has. And the last thing is the damn resources. China want that gold. China want them diamonds. China want that gas. China wants that oil. And I'm disappointed in our African leaders, not all of them, but some of them. And most recently, I spoke by the invitation of the Ethiopian government for African Liberation Day this past May. And my disappointment with some African leaders is we keep on playing pocket pool with these different neo-colonizers. Who's going to treat me the best? The Americans? Who's going to treat me the best? The Russians? Who's going to treat me the best? The Chinese? None of them are going to treat you well because they are all colonizers. Africa has no friends. The only thing Africa has is a lot of resources that other people don't want to pay for. And will kill to get. So right now we got a situation in the Sahel in Africa where you have Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea. These are all former French colonies, Francophone countries. They kicked the France out. There's been revolutions, and now we got what appears to be authentic Black leadership in Africa. I hope they are sincere. I hope they are not FBI agents. I hope these coups are not a CIA stunt because we really need these brothers to keep good on their promise to revolutionize the political reality in Africa because our people are tired of being at the bottom. The richest people in the world, the first people in the world, have no business being the poorest people in the world. And so I'm hoping these brothers are sincere because if they are,
the
this is
fear,
the
Your
much
Majesty.
needed continental-wide
There are
revolution
times
that
that
Africa
when
so
I see
desperately
the
needs to
good
have.
things happening down the Sahel, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't want this day to come, like to end. I don't want this wind of change to just maybe be like a dream because I hope one day I won't wake up and it will be like, oh, it was staged. Oh, they were supported by the West. Oh, the CIA is behind this. But I just want to be positive, and with that positive energy around us, we believe that the change down the Sahel is authentic, is real, and is just something that we need at this point in time. So, nobody will love us better than we ourselves. Nobody will have that positive mindset, would have that mind to want to develop the continent than we ourselves, the owner of the continent. So stop believing in this whole idea of some people might love us better. We have experienced some group of people as a continent while the ages run, and we have discovered, I don't know if we have discovered for sure, but history shows that all these people who come to the continent and claim they love the continent, they have ulterior motives, and at the end, they always show who they are. This is how France was loving the Sahel. Even when they were asked to leave, it was so difficult to pull them out. And even up until today, they are doing everything possible to return back to places where they dominate. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. To China, I think there was a video I talked about this, and I said, Chinese push into the continent of Africa criminals that are sentenced. Hardened criminals that are sentenced, they push them to the continent. And these people come here and instigate problems in rural areas. These people come here. Some of them come in the pretense of, okay, they are Chinese. They are just coming to see how Africa look like. And see, that's a habit. This is a habit that we need to work on. Seeing other people and believing them in one glance. Because or they're Chinese, or they're white, or they're what have you. We tend to love outsider more than we love ourselves. I keep saying this here. Now, some of these Chinese go to rural areas and marry our girls and have families. So the children, the children that they have are part Chinese, part Africans. Your Majesties, this was how the Arab came into the northern part. And we see the results right now today of how the effects of what the Arab did in the past. The effects, we are seeing it today in the northern part of the continent. And this is the same mistake we are beginning to make. Because I get a bit troubled when I see a Chinese in a path where you never expect that a foreigner will go live. You see a Chinese living there doing the daily activities that Africans do in their villages. If an African is frying akara, there's what they call akara, this beans paste, cake, whatever. A Chinese would not see anything wrong with it. A Chinese can sit there and be frying the akara as well. All these daily petty jobs, you see them there in rural areas. And they have a wife, an African, and they have children. Your Majesty, it's something that we have to look into. Will an African man be allowed into into China and go to their paths with whichever path he want to go carry a wife and marry and start having children? Will that happen? And have a house? Will that happen? But no, it only happened in a place called Africa, where we don't care about the interference of other people. We don't care whether these people tomorrow, they are planning something for tomorrow. We don't care whether they have ulterior motives. We don't accept them. They live with us. They do what they want to do with us. They learn our culture, learn everything about us, learn our secrets. Come on, Majesties. These people know exactly what they are doing. They know they're all in for business. They are all in for the progress of their own country. So whatever they can do to help them be on our good side, so they can come in and take away what they can go away with. That is it. And some people will be like, okay, it's a fair deal right now, so it's 50-50. Is that 50-50 going to be 50-50 forever? I just felt like sharing this with you, and you leave your comments and thought there at the section, and I'll see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive, always your Majesties. Bye for now.